Greetings. Assalamu alaikum. That simply means peace be unto you. The appropriate response would be wa alaikum salam and unto you be peace. I am Sister Alice Muhammad, your host of The Sure Truth. Thanking you in advance for tuning in to The Sure Truth new season 2019, season 1 here at Pasadena Media. Let me start off by saying we believe that Allah God appeared in the person of Master W. Farad Muhammad, July 30th, the long-awaited Messiah of the Christians and the Mahdi of the Muslims. We believe further and lastly that Allah is God, and besides Him, there is no God, and He will bring about a universal government of peace wherein we all can live in peace together. With that being said, again, we're going to continue further discussing the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as it relates to the black woman. One of the points I want to share with us is what the Muslims believe, point number 11. We believe our women should be respected and protected as the women of other nationalities are respected and protected. As I stated in the previous episode, as far as current events are concerned, we can see and hear that literally the black woman is under attack. The black community is under attack. Black men, women, and children are under attack. Okay? Literally, we are in a war zone on a battlefield fighting for our life. The black woman, if you've been following current events, is being not only attacked verbally, she's being attacked physically, okay? And what I would like to do is continue to share the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, starting with who defines black women, okay? And this is from an article that I found relative to the subject matter in the Final Call newspaper. And it takes a look at the status of black women. It examines our images, influences, our challenges, and our future. When I reflect on black women and images, the first thing that enters my mind is the portrayal of them through media images as self-hating, angry, miserable, and vindictive. All of those characterizations are fictitious and derived from Western America's foundation of white supremacy as we know it to be. This is a quote that Minister Farrakhan gave and demonstrated and has proven in various lectures, as we have seen and viewed by way of video, the treatment of the black woman. Black women are devoted wives, mothers, educators, attorneys, doctors, authors, airplane pilots, and astronauts, but they cannot escape negative myth surrounding their images and facts turned fiction that impact their status, influence, challenges, and future. The words of black female empowerment often invoke mental images of First Lady. At that time, it was Michelle Obama or Oprah Winfrey, the daytime talk television host. But while black women seem to enjoy more power, influence, and status, and perhaps greater than greater than any other period during their sojourn in America, a sobering reality boils at the surface. When I reflect on black women in images, the first thing that enters my mind is the portrayal of them through media images as self-hating, angry, miserable, and vindictive. This is a quote that was stated by our own Sister Minister Ava Muhammad, who is the national spokesperson for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. She is an attorney and the Nation of Islam student minister. All of those characterizations are fictitious and derived from Western America's foundation of white supremacy, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has so clearly demonstrated and proven. The fictitious concept of white supremacy says Caucasians are inherently superior spiritually, intellectually, and morally to darker peoples of the earth, and an aggressive effort was required to sustain that illusion, according to what our Dr. Sister Ava Muhammad is explaining to us. The black female is at the core of their plan and had to be portrayed as subhuman to bring about, or to bring a people down. Society's portrayal of black women fall into one of three categories, said Sister Dr. Ava Muhammad. One is oversexed women on display and in search of loveless, tireless with males. Number two, a step above a dog or a cat, focused on physical assets alone, such as hair, makeup, and tight clothes, or as obese, miserable, angry, unattractive, manless female who thus hates the world. All of what we believe that we are has been colored and impacted by history. And this is a quote by Dr. Joy DeGruy. She is a researcher, educator, and author of Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, America's Legacy of Enduring Injury and Healing. People forget there are institutions working to perpetuate images that make white America feel comfortable, says Dr. DeGruy, as she spoke with the Final Call during this interview. An often criticized institution is the entertainment industry, wrought with scantily clad, bootylicious, rump-shaking females on music videos. Critics have battled artists, producers, and networks to promote better images of young black women, but women collectively must take accountability for what's put out about them. That's why there are no contradictions for Tanya Stiles to become president of the hip-hop icon Snoop Dogg's Chicago chapter of his Snoop Youth Football League. The burden is not on our men to change toward us. The burden is on us to change toward ourselves. That's why, let me rephrase that. We don't have to be a vixen or video vixen. We don't have to settle for dancing around in our underwear, hoping that a man will make it rain on us in a video. We can be the rainmakers of this industry, but our young girls need to see women in positions of leadership in this industry and not just eye candy. The genesis of negative images is as old as black women's history, said Dr. Julianne Malvex, president of Bennett College for Women in Greensboro, North Carolina. If you look at the Hottentot, as I referred to in a previous lecture, Sarah Bartman, for example, this African woman was paraded through the streets in the 1800s and shown off as if she were a zoo animal with her genitalia on display. If you dehumanize in some ways the woman, you dehumanize the race. Such dehumanization reared its ugly head when people attempted to caricature Mrs. Obama with the New York cover. Now, we do remember when Michelle Obama was in the White House during President Obama's reign as President of the United States, she was constantly made mockery of in more ways than one, okay? She was not respected as other, what do you call it, women, first ladies allegedly of the White House. She didn't receive the type of honor. She didn't receive the type of respect. She was under microscopic scrutiny all the time, okay? On the other, let's see, she's got a big afro and is power to the struggle. She said, referring to the July, this was during 2008 cover illustration of President and Mrs. Obama. Okay, no, she's the First Lady of the United States, but it's the attempt to basically caricature black women. And that's what that was all about. The black woman has been under constant attack ever since our ancestors were brought here to the shores of North America. And we've never been given the proper due respect that we deserve and have earned because we are the mothers of civilization to humanity. People feel free to say these things about black women in ways that they don't say about other women, and blacks have not readily defended themselves. Very rarely are we presented as intelligent moral leaders, said Dr. DeGroot. Rather, the images of black women in Amos and Andy, the so-called black situation comedy that ran in during the 1920s and 50s, such as Sapphire, the lustful whore image, or the overbearing, ignorant black woman who oppresses her black man. And we can also attribute some of this negative imagery and the compromising relationship between the black man and woman. A lot of that comes from the Willie Lynch letter. That letter and the instructions that Willie Lynch gave to the colonizers, the oppressor, was teaching the oppressor and generations after him how to control both the black man and the black woman. Pit each of them, put the black woman out front, where she subjects the black man to humiliation, disgrace, disrespect, and no degree of respect. He's always thrown under the bus by the black woman for lack of the black woman knowing who we are and who the black man is, and recognizing the hidden hand behind the scene that is causing the divide and conquer and the division among the black man and the black woman, as well as the black family, okay? People gravitate to images, and some even compare themselves to what they see, but the problem is many women have images and self-esteem issues based on what's projected in mainstream media. And to some extent, that's very unrealistic. And we do know who controls mainstream media. It's not black people. It's not the black man and woman. It's the white Jewish controlled media community. They determine what will be presented. They set the agenda, as we can see with current events that has happened with the case of Bill Cosby. Currently, we can see what is unfolding with the singer, what's his name? R. Kelly, for instance, okay? So there's a hidden agenda here. It's bigger than Bill Cosby. It's bigger than R. Kelly. And we know that white men, the behavior that both these brothers, Bill Cosby, is not to be excusable or justified. But where did they learn this behavior from? Who taught them this behavior? This is not the normal behavior of people of a high civilization that we were and had before our ancestors were robbed, kidnapped, stolen, and brought here to the shores of America. And we have been imitating the behavior, the mindset, the norms, the lifestyle of a people that we have grown accustomed to being controlled by, okay? So with that being said, I hope there is something that I have said that's been educational, enlightening, informative, and inspiring for us to do some critical thinking when it comes to the black man and woman relationship, and particularly the black woman, because the black woman is the mother of humanity. And without the black woman, you would not have white people, brown people, yellow people, or red people. You would not have anybody, because black women gave birth to the hue, H-U, which is color, and the human family. So just based on that, the black woman deserves to be respected and protected by not only her black man, but every other living human being on this planet. So with that being said, we're going to listen to, let me bring up that picture by Garvey, the female picture that we have of the black woman. I want to quote something that she says here to the black woman particularly. She says, "Be not discouraged, Black women of the world, but push forward regardless of the lack of appreciation shown you." That is a quote by Amy Garvey, who was the wife of the late, great Marcus Garvey. Okay. Also, in closing, let me just make a quick statement about the shutdown. Bring up the books that we have, please. In light of the government shutdown, 800,000 people are being affected by this shutdown. This falls in line with the fall of America as we know it. We're witnessing the world that we know and have known is now, without a doubt, in the process of falling. As you can see, these are some of the books that the Nation of Islam have. Message to the Black Man, The Fall of America, Our Savior Has Arrived, How to Eat to Live, Book 1 and 2. This book, The Fall of America, is literally prophetically written by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad from a historical perspective relative to current events, domestic and international. As we can see, America is falling by stages and degrees. So with that being said, we're going to continue to listen to some videos, just sharing some pertinent information in regards to the Black woman. I leave you as I came before you with the greeting words of peace of Assalamu Alaikum.
I believe the role of a Black woman is to work for a just society, the kind of a society in which children can grow up without fear, in which they can hope. Don't you think so?
Really, you know, to boil it all down, Black woman is the mother of civilization. That adds it up. She is. She's actually the mother, you know. That's it. She's the mother of the earth. She bears forth fruit to fertilize the soil.
I agree.
I agree. I think we have overlooked the fact that Black women have been for the white nation. They have sucked us dry. That we have nursed the children, we have fed them, we have done everything, put all our energies, all our work into working for the white family. And now it's time for us to take all our strength, all the strength that Monahan says we have. You know, we're supposed to be the strongest women anyway. It's time for us to take all our strength, all our milk, all of that, and put it into working for the Black nation.
I'd like to touch on something here. I'm glad you brought this up. And I don't know what reaction this is going to get because a lot of people jump at me when I say it. But unfortunately, all people in this country, Black people and white people, are subjugated to the same system of media, are subjugated to the same systems of communication, are subjugated to the same conditioning. And that's something we definitely have to reckon with if we're going to ever get through any of this stuff. Moynihan, that's sort of the name that's associated with that word matriarchy, definitely has to be dealt with.
I'd like to deal with him
right,
face to face.
Right. I think that unfortunately, a lot of us, Black men and Black women, believe in the myth of that matriarchy. And I think that belief engenders a lot of negative things. Number one, it says that matriarchy is inferior to patriarchy, which is a whole thing right there. You see that patriarchy is a sort of natural or divine order of things, which is not so. Two, that Black men have believed and internalized the myth of white womanhood in this country and Anglo-Saxon impositions, so that they place us in relation to where white women are.
There's two things a woman, I believe, being a Black woman and a very proud Black woman, can do for a man, make him or break him. And then you take into consideration how the Black man has been berated by the white man. His woman, you know, adequately couldn't have the luxuries of another woman born the same just like her. This man has to, you know, Black men have stood by for a very, very long time and been humiliated by the, you know, the system. He can't get the job that this fella can get. And you must understand that his wife might have to go on welfare. He has to stay in the humility of that. He has to watch the plumber, duck if the welfare worker come in there. You understand me? He has always been like made to feel he's below the next man. So you must, all this you must come, you know, take into consideration. You know, now black men are learning, you know, that they're part. They're beginning to feel like a man. They're getting their dignity and their pride back. So he needs a woman to keep on pushing him. Vice versa, you know. I mean, you say about, you know, in the system, this system has destroyed, actually, the black man. You know, because everything that we've ever done, there's no part of this country that you can say, if you touch that a black man didn't bring it in here. You know, everything that they built, they've never been able to share with it. So I don't even want to hear that. You know, what society have done just took our black men and destroyed their manhood. That's what they've done. They aided and abetted.
Please, I'm certainly not in disagreement. I'm in 200% agreement with everything you said. I think we all are.
But mightn't it, excuse me, mightn't it be, you know, like, we understand that what the brothers are going through now, as you say, the cultural national, but mightn't it all be very revolutionary, and you might be the better woman for understanding that they, at this point, they need you to walk a few feet behind and get their manhood together. So if it takes that, then I'm going to do whatever the brothers need now. I mean, I've been doing a lot of research on slavery, and talk about wiping out and ripping off a people. They did it to the black man. They did it. And if it takes, at this point, a cultural nationalist say, you got to walk 4 paces behind me, baby, slow. If that might be revolutionary, I'll do that. I mean, I'm going to do anything at this point that's needed.
Is that revolutionary? How revolutionary is it if one half of us is in condescension and a kind of almost fear, saying, walking 10 paces behind you, saying that in order for me to, quote, regain my manhood,
maybe that's
I have to deny you your
right
peoplehood.
No.
Is that revolutionary? I think we
I'm
really have to
saying
explore
if somebody
that.
really needs that, I don't. We just have to do whatever we need to do to help
that
these
says
black
to me
men
that
get
you
together.
really believe that there has been this thing called a matriarchy that, as Moynihan
I
put
believe
it,
we've been ripped off as a people. Black people have been ripped off.
No, we haven't been ripped off.
yes, but you're not dealing with the internal thing that really...
I take that back. Black people hasn't been ripped. Black people have been raped of every ounce of human things that's entitled and due another human being.
Right.
Do you know how we
that's
really
what it
can't
is.
get this together? And really, because to me, this is very alien, and we shouldn't be sitting here talking about defining something which has been defined for us. We should be about redefinition. And I don't particularly care whether I walk alongside, in back of, or in front of. That is going to have to be defined for me by my man. We know too well what our being is all about in the United States of Europe. We have to deal with that. That's why I started out by saying, are we talking about changes within existing systems? Because that's all we're talking about. We're talking about a black nation within a European nation. And if we have to deal with that, then let's redefine our own culture and stop being a subculture. Stop worrying about the man. That's deifying him. Who is the man? You know.
I agree with you, except, sorry, go ahead, Amelia.
No, I just wanted to mention in terms of cultural nationalism and what, brothers feel. I don't know, if it's all true that brothers would like you to walk 10 paces in back of them. But I do know that we do have a definite role. And until we play our definite role, they cannot play their definite role. And our roles are complementary. Complete and make perfect that which is imperfect. And that if we go about being the inspiration of the nation, and again, educating the children of the nation, and participating in the social development of the nation, that it would be no problem. And when we say we should not discuss things, we start out to discuss them. Like, why raise Moynihan if he's invalid? Don't raise him. Don't talk about him.
I really believe this very strongly, that as much as we would all like to say that and struggle every day re-examining ourselves to do just that, that we are, unfortunately, very much a part of that dominant culture. It does affect us. Now, if it didn't affect us, we wouldn't be fighting crackers. And that's the truth of it. If it didn't affect us, we wouldn't get mad about what Mr. Moynihan writes. And if it didn't affect us, certain people would not react to the myth of the matriarchy in the way they do. And that's why it has to be exposed and destroyed. It's not that I really want to spend time talking about Mr. Moynihan. It's that I think that we have to get rid of the illusions, we have to get rid of the poisons, we have to get rid of the lies. And one way to do that is expose it and dissect it.
Another way, if we create a new life, a new value system, and live it as an example.
That's what I'm talking
Exactly.
about. That's it.
That would probably be the
That's
best
it.
way. Because then people could see it as a living thing and not as a theory. Because what we need to do is to reestablish a new value system. That's what black people need, a value
and how,
system.
exactly, and how do we go about that?
We go about it the way you go about daily work. First of all, you decide what you want. You establish your value system, you start to live it.
Mm-hmm.
And the people in your community, you start talking to your neighbors. You get yourself together first.
Exactly.
Then you get your community together.
We're in agreement.
Then you get your neighborhood together.
We're in agreement.
Right. And then you can move on out. But in the beginning, you got to make sure you got yourself together.
Right, right.
You know,
Okay.
you have to start right here.
But I think we ought to be sure we understand what she's saying. Now, this relates to what you said earlier about the black nation, right?
Exactly.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean by the black nation.
I mean, black people's lives, being self-determining, defining yourself, naming yourself, and having political power. We're a nation already without political power and military power. We're a cultural nation without political and military power. We're a nation, you know, in captivity by another people, a people who have a different, totally different culture than we have, who cannot even relate to the things that we relate to. That is the problem. And as black women, we have to be the inspiration for the nation, for our men. We have to start out into the community educating the children, educating ourselves. Because once we educate ourselves, the children will become educated because we are the ones that teach the children.